I've got a flight this morning, but I needed to speak about this before I hop on that plane. The internet is not what we once knew, and I think we are truly witnessing the revolution of the internet itself. Recently, the UK has administered the Child Safety Act, and if you didn't know by now, it's an act that has been presented to protect children from explicit content. Yes Men's from about a week ago, and their first big strike was on the porn industry, banning anyone from accessing any porn websites without a form of ID to prove they are eligible of watching two adults sweat on each other. First thought when seeing this was, wow, where was this act when I was a lonely teenager in my room with nothing to do? But we're not going to get into the detail about that. That was until I started to look at things a little bit more deeply and saw the real horror of this situation. Literally days after, sites like YouTube, Reddit, and Spotify got hit with the ban too, meaning that you need to give up your data in order to access the site in the way that we have been free to do for many years. Sensitive data such as bank details, facial identification, and forms of ID such as driving licenses. This data is then sent to third parties who are not even part of the UK. While this is labeled as an act to protect children, most people have no choice to comply, not only to access the internet, but for their moral compass. A powerful persuasion technique known as pathos emotional appeal. This is when politicians persuade you by attacking your emotions towards a topic. Using adult content as the first move to make the internet less accessible was the best catalyst in this situation. Making you have that emotional pathos, that empathy for the children. You can't even imagine your nephews, your cousins, your nieces, your auntie's newborn baby, even though she's 40, watching this type of stuff. So why would you want anyone watching this type of stuff? And you have full responsibility if they do, because you're not giving away your data. You're a part of the problem. That's what they want you to think. A very powerful technique and something that you just can't argue with. Hey guys, it's Men's. I'm in Budapest right now, if you can't tell. I was editing this video and I noticed I was missing a whole segment from this video. I hope this doesn't ruin your watching experience. Honestly, this whole situation just doesn't resonate with me, and I just wanted to spread some awareness about it. And I was gonna do that by any means. So now that you've handed over all of your data, you can rest assured that you are not a weirdo and you are helping create a child-safe society. A society where Gaza and Palestine posts can also be blocked from your media and seen as explicit. And if not just seen as explicit, completely blocked to you if you are not of age. See, what disturbs me the most isn't necessarily what they are censoring, but how they are censoring. The companies that deem what is explicit and isn't explicit are all controlled by government officials. This essentially means that the word explicit from now on in the UK is decided by the government. Anything that doesn't align with their political view, anything that doesn't align with what they think is right, is explicit. Governments that you may have not even voted for. As I've said before, this data is being held in US borders, not UK ones. The reason I personally think this is wrong is because of the culture difference. A lot of these governments do not know what is going on. The internet has evolved so much over the years. What was once abnormal and explicit, or something that is shame to even speak about or confess, is now something that people relate to and are open within the internet. For example, the government has already banned Reddit communities that talk about their past traumas, overcoming addiction, and things of that nature. Now those people are held to the mercy of proving that they are 18 and providing personal identification. It begs the question, what about the people who cannot provide identification? Where's the safe harbor and community for them? Where's the opportunity for them to share their experience through the same way that we did when we were in that same situation? I don't know why I said we. I've never been on Reddit. I've actually never used Reddit in my life. But it's disturbing nonetheless. Same thing with YouTube. I created a YouTube channel when I was 12. But if I was born in 2025 onwards, I would not be able to do that anymore. A place where people cannot find solace anymore because the government deem it not eligible. Let that sink in. The internet, which was once a form of expression, a place where you can relate to people and find communities, now turn into a spoon-fed version of that, unless you can give up your personal data. Along with censoring communities, Spotify and YouTube, all Gaza-related posts on X have also been censored for deeming it as explicit content. We saw a foreshadowing of this with the TikTok ban earlier this year. Only TikTok came back, but the Gaza posts that were in TikTok all got censored for not following guidelines that were maintained within the app. But now history repeats itself. The freedom of political views being narrowed down down because we want to protect children. What once was an algorithm controlled by the people has now been turned into propaganda. This false sense of freedom once you hand over your data is only the cherry on top. See, just because you give adults that access to the internet does not mean they have access to the internet. Many under 18s within the UK were using apps like TikTok, YouTube, and X for their news reports. They made up a good number of the people who interacted with those posts. Restricting their access means less engagement. Less engagement means less push, and less push means the creator gets hurt and inevitably needs to change what they are talking about within their content.
Guys, we seriously need to talk about what's happening in the UK right now. Today, I woke up to a notification that one of my videos had been restricted because it violates local law. Now, it was removed under the UK's new Online Safety Act, which I'm sure you guys have heard of by now. It's supposed to protect children from harmful content online, but we're less than 2 weeks in and it's already taking down literal news reports.
I hope you can see this is anything but freedom. You're trading your identification for a controlled, moderated social media. The internet will never be the same. It really is the truth. They could put a lot more strict guidelines in place and we'd have no choice but to comply, giving up our identification even while knowing it's being used for surveillance. I mean that seriously. Persona, the engine that is being used to collect the data and hold it, have noted in their terms and agreements that they can hold your data for up to 3 years. That's 3 years every time you upload your identification, which means it's gonna continue happening again and again and again. That was a very good snap. I'm impressed with myself because of that. Some people argue that children are smart. They'll find VPNs, they'll find ways to bypass this and we'll all be saved. No one has to upload their identification, and more so, adults are even smarter than children, so we'll definitely be okay. If you upload your identification, you're just silly. But what about the people who don't know any better or have access to this knowledge? A lot of elderly people also use the internet. They could fall victim to giving up their identification without knowing what strings are attached towards them. Like, my mom is in her 40s and I still help her use her phone. This isn't just an attack on the youth, but it's an attack on everyone, a cyber attack on everyone, and we're just here to watch front row and center. It's a clear cinematic screen that shows that we do not have any freedom. They do, and we never did. Speaking of they, I want to note that the person who called people the opposition and not wanting good for children if they don't comply with this act is also someone who denied interrogation or the inquiry into grooming gangs within the UK. Hopefully you see what I mean when I say the culture is fully far gone. The same people who are claiming to want to protect children are the same people that are doing nothing in order to get to a much better place for children. I've really tried to think of the goods to come out of this situation, but the bads just outweigh them every single time. The freedom of expression is what I care about within this video and care about within the internet entirely. Freedom to find out new niches, new topics, new interests, all of that. It's what made the internet seem like a cool place and separated it from the rest of society, a capitalistic society. For once, people felt like they had the power to say what they wanted, express themselves how they wanted. But we are again reminded that we do not have any freedom. We as the people, especially through these digital screens and these digital apps, are only at the kindness of people in power. People who have probably never opened a YouTube account, never opened a Reddit community, and were probably listening to the explicit music that they are banning now back when they were in nappies. All for your safety and surveillance. It's a beautiful world that we live in. You know, my personal opinion is I knew it was coming. When I saw that they are banning GTA as well from under 18s, they're really going for everything, every corner, anything that they can sniff out. And I really feel sorry for the generation that's coming. I don't know where we're going. Of course, I'm not a time traveler, but it doesn't seem like a bright road ahead. It seems like a dark one that is more and more filtered out, censored, more controlled and manipulated by the higher-ups who have no room to even say or judge anything that is online or on the internet. People that have been investigated that acts do not have children's best interests. What room do they have to say what should be presented to a child and what should be kept away? They don't. And it's even more ridiculous knowing that. A lot of us know that, and we cannot really say anything about it. But what we can do is stay vigilant and remain conscious. I want to make this video to bring awareness around this topic, you know, and I think I've done that. Just know that this isn't the end, and it's going to continue going, and more through time. I believe that to do a lot of things that were regular maybe even 5 years ago is going to require some form of government surveillance. But that's just my hunch, you know. I'm gonna go sleep now, go to bed in preparation for my flight. Yeah, man. As always, it's Men's TV back on 900 Thoughts. I hope this enlightened you. I hope that you learned something from this video, and I hope I spread a bit of awareness. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, comment your thoughts on this topic, and yeah, man, I'm out.